I'm Mary Jennifer Mitchell, or MJ. We see a lot of sportsmen who are doing endurance sports, and any time that you utilize your body to that level for 90 minutes or more, which they do all the time, you end up releasing lactic acid into your muscles. It's a byproduct of having overused the muscles. And lactic acid is what causes pain, stiffness, and soreness the next day. Lactic acid has a direct relationship with free radicals. Now, for those of you, I know everybody's heard of free radicals, not everybody knows what they are. Free radicals are simply oxygen cell molecules that have broken loose that are just a single oxygen that are floating around in your system, and they're very destructive. If you've ever seen metal that's been left out in the rain and it starts to rust, that is oxidation. That is oxygen on that metal that's causing it to rust. If you've left an apple or an avocado out in the air, it's the oxygen that turns it brown. Well, the same thing is happening to us, and it's called aging. And we can age prematurely if we really use our bodies a lot, because in every cellular activity there's oxygen is needed for good purposes, but through those good purposes there's extra oxygen cells that are released in the body, and they're destructive when they're floating around in you. But we're going to be showing you some pretty revolutionary equipment that you can use that has a much more profound effect directly on a cellular level. And now I'm going to tell you about my experience with the NanoVi and how it works, hopefully in a way that you'll understand. Now, a lot of people who've used it mistakenly call it an oxygen machine. It is not an oxygen machine. Oxygen is a prescribed drug, actually, because anything that you alter that happens naturally and bioidentically, if you alter it, you can patent it and make money on it. When you don't alter something, it's called bioidentical, and this system works with a bioidentical frequency, also known as a redox signal. A lot of you have heard that term. It's used with a lot of supplements these days, that people make claims that their supplement has a redox signal that helps to oxygenate the body. Now, whether those products have it or not, I know for a fact this machine does. When a number of years ago we had something called the genome study, there was much excitement that we were going to end all illness because we were going to use DNA and genetic programming to understand every cell in the body and to understand how they went awry, causing illness. But very quickly they discovered that there were only a third as many genes as there are different cells in the body, and therefore there couldn't be a different gene for every cell in the body. The next thing they discovered were that these genes were actually a repair kit. Our DNA is there, something we inherit to repair the cells in our body. And this is done, triggered by signals, frequency signals that go through our body. When there is a stress, then the body sends a signal to counteract the destructive forces of that stress in our body. And one of the big stressors that we have living in the modern world has to do with free radicals, or the fact that with every system and every stressor, that every activity in the body leaves these free radical oxygen cells floating around, rusting or corroding, aging us, destroying cells. And the first redox signal that was discovered in the Genome Project was the particular signal that's used in the NanoVi. This little machine takes all of the different gases that are in the air we're breathing, manipulates those, restructuring them in a way that it gives a signal to the body to have that response that we would have under stress, to hold on to oxygen, so that every cell in our body holds on to oxygen for longer, supporting the repairs that need to go on. I was first introduced to this system a little over 3 years ago when I had a cancer diagnosis in myself, and opted not to go with the horrific choices I was given through the medical profession. And I'm a nurse. I worked in the medical profession, but what they had to offer for my cancer was so horrific that I thanked them for not even tempting me to go that route. Some of the first equipment that I purchased for my own personal use were the Tesla energy lights and the NanoVi system. I had no understanding really of what it did, except that very quickly I noticed my oxygen saturation. When you've all been to the doctor's office and they put a little clip on your finger and check your O2 sats, or saturation. This is the amount of oxygen that is in your blood at any given point. The higher the number, up to 100%, the better off you are. I'm a nurse and I work with ventilator-dependent children, and so I was checking their sats all the time, and I would frequently just stick the little clip on my finger in the middle of the night and check it, and was a little concerned that my saturation was always in the mid to low 80s, which is not good. Well, after I used the NanoVi every day for a while, I noticed that even on days when I didn't use it, my sats ran 98, 99, 100. 99%, that's pretty darn good at 66 years of age, while just sitting here inactive.